Hello people, I'm Jaby Koay, joined by ACHARA KIRK, MORIAH GARCIA, and CORTNEY WRIGHT. We just had the good fortune of watching Avengers Infinity War. We're gonna try our best to keep this as spoiler-free as possible. We'll have a separate video for our spoiler discussion. I want to start off with my concern upon watching the trailer. Like, obviously we were all really excited seeing the Infinity War trailer, all the Infinity War commercials, but I had an immediate concern because of just the size of the cast and how many locations there were in the trailer. Every time I see that, I go, oh my gosh, like they're doing a lot. This might feel all over the place. And that did happen a little bit, but I think that given the monumental task that these filmmakers had, they actually managed to tell an entertaining story still.
They blended them together really well in the sense of following the story and the fact that you're following the stones.
It was easy to follow, exactly how you said, that it wasn't all over the place. I liked that it was a little more slow pace of introducing different groups of characters. So I thought it was easy to grasp.
It moved at a really good pace and I enjoyed seeing the different worlds and planets and scenery and stuff like that. It just kind of enriched the whole experience.
It's really exciting seeing all these characters kind of come together. Characters interacting with other characters that haven't interacted before in this universe.
Yeah.
That's really cool because there's obviously going to be like personalities clashing or getting along in ways that you don't expect. The use of their powers I thought was really cool throughout the film as well. I can't say how, obviously.
This was the first time it was really evident to me that the entire span of phase 1 and phase 2 both ran together like the comic book series. To see them all come together now, I thought it was like seamless.
An epic.
Yeah.
Yes.
This was definitely an epic film. It felt like an opera in a way. I don't think a film like this has ever been done before. To the best of my recollection, the only other thing I can think of is a really bad movie called Mortal Kombat Annihilation, like where you have a bunch of characters crammed into this single film. And even Mortal Kombat couldn't get all the characters quite in there because there was so many. They managed to get everyone in there. And they each had their own screen time, and it felt like they were part of this story as opposed to just cameo appearances.
Right.
I thought the action was actually really exciting to watch. When it comes to fight scenes, you often get camera work where you can't quite see what's going on. I think they managed to strike a balance between that kind of Bourne Identity style and allowing us to appreciate the action and the choreography. There's a few moments where I was like, it's like cut, 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 and I can't quite follow the beauty of the choreography. For the most part, they did a pretty good job here. Did you guys have any thoughts on the fight scenes at all?
I can say this because you actually see the battle in the trailer, but that bit I was just like, mind blown.
One of my difficulties of watching films like this, where there is a lot of fighting, it's a turnoff for me when it's so much fighting and I just lose interest because of it, because I'm just not engaged anymore. But because the fight scenes incorporated so much of like the personality and the specialty of each character, that's what gets to shine and that's what makes them stand out more than any other fight scene.
Yeah.
Is seeing their own superpower and what they bring to the table.
Yeah.
It was really engaging and you find yourself rooting for these people that you're like, oh my God, she's fighting with her or he's fighting with that person and it's just like great.
So visual effects. The one thing I feel confident about talking about is Thanos because you see him in the trailer. I actually had reservations about Thanos when I first saw him. Like some of the visual effects looked good, some of it looked bad, but in the film, they did an excellent job. He looks lifelike, like a person.
He does. He really did.
I was just blown away.
It looked like it was all makeup, but you know that it was more than that. He looked like one of the characters, just like Drax or Gamora or Mantis. I just couldn't believe it. I was like, wow, you know, like they really brought him to life. The largeness of this persona.
They did a fantastic and seamless job of emphasizing that size disparity between Thanos and everybody else. Like his hand compared to everyone else's body. Like he was clearly a giant character. It didn't feel fake, it didn't feel cartoony or like cheap CGI. Like you can tell where they put their money. That being said, there were other parts where the visual effects, not as much money was spent, and it was like, oh, but now it's drawing attention to itself. I'm not gonna say what it is, but like, there were some moments that were questionable.
I agree with that statement. All of the explosions and what we're used to seeing with like the buildings blowing up and the spaceships flying, those elements were every bit as exciting as you expected them to be. There's just one thing that could have been smoothed out just a little bit more, but other than that, visual effects, definitely like
it was fantastic.
99.
It was fantastic. Now, in this group of 4 people, I would say that this is the critical center right here. and that's like, the more chilled out area, these two. So how did you guys feel about the visual effects?
I think I actually agree with you and I'm surprised because usually I'm not the person that notices enough visual effects. But there were certain moments where I was like, what? I noticed that, and I'm not the person that notices things.
I forgive it only because you're dealing with a lot of $20 million plus actors in this.
Yeah, no, I'm fine.
You have a huge cast of people who are, their paychecks are pretty big to have all these name talent actors in this film and have all that, like, one thing I can safely say is there is a ton of visual effects in this movie. Like almost wall to wall. On the spectrum, right, you have, what's a super serious, okay, let's say Dark Knight is super serious. And on the other end, you've got Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. That's your spectrum of humor. I feel like this was like obviously veering way more towards Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, but they dialed it back enough that it wasn't like in your face, joke. And
Not like Ragnarok.
Not like Ragnarok,
yeah.
There's a lot of people who loved the Thor Ragnarok humor, and I can understand where they're coming from.
I didn't hate it.
I think that a lot of people disagreed with the humor in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. I think that was worse than Thor Ragnarok.
I agree. I actually really liked Ragnarok. Let me just put it that way.
Yeah.
First of all, I really liked it. I just thought that there were opportunities for less.
Yes.
But I do agree with you. Volume 2 was... It was too much for me.
They managed to find a balance here where it wasn't too much. I was very relieved that there was comedy in the film because all of the trailers, or most of them anyway, felt so dark, grim, and serious. And I was like, is this gonna be really dark like the whole movie?
I'm gonna need some tissues. That's what I was concerned with.
Yeah. All right, the last thing we'll talk about is the music. Before I say a damn thing about this, how did you guys feel about the music? Because I think I'm just more hypercritical of things in general.
I liked it. I mean, I thought it scored the emotional arc of the story really well.
For me, it wasn't honestly anything that I noticed, and I feel like I note some of the music normally, but
I'm crazy. I'm the crazy one of the bunch.
This one I
noticed.
In a bad or a good way?
I noticed in a different way. Music has been a huge aspect of a lot of them. Like rock, especially when you're going into like a huge battle scene, or like in Guardians of the Galaxy, there's different like the
Pop
cool
culture.
groove, like pop culture songs from the past. And this one was more classically driven.
Yes.
And I think because of that, because of the severity of what we're experiencing or what's potentially coming our way, it had to be different.
The person who composed is Alan Silvestri. He also did the music for Back to the Future, if you guys haven't heard of him before. He also did Captain America, and then he also did the other Avengers film, the first Avengers film. He's got a huge profile. The music stood out to me in a way that I'm not sure how I feel about it yet, but it wasn't super positive when I heard it. The easiest way to put it is the music is extremely dramatic. It's very operatic in a way, and I'm like, okay, I think I like this, but I'm not sure. What I can say for certain is the last 30 minutes of music of the film, I appreciated a lot. Everything leading up to those last 30 minutes, it just kind of, it drew attention to itself in a way that I'm not sure that I was happy with.
But it was also really nice how they used the music that we're familiar with from the different movies. Like when we first see the Guardians, they have
like
kind
an
of Guardians
introduction.
music. Yeah, and then like when we go to Wakanda, there's a Wakandan music. So they incorporated all the nice little elements that we love from the other franchises and brought them together. And we're like, yeah, we're a team now, go.
I've done other videos where I complained that Marvel films in general don't have recognizable theme songs, and a few people argued back saying the Avengers theme song is very recognizable. I'm like,
It is.
yes, it is. That's really the only theme song, and I guess that's the only one that matters here. But when Black Panther shows up in this film, his song jumps out at you, and you're like, yep, that's the Black Panther song.
Before he even turns up, you hear the music, and you're like,
Yes.
I know where
Before
we're going
even
next.
Wakanda.
Yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
but like that's the only character theme song I can think of that I can recognize.
Yeah.
No one else's songs I can recognize. Like obviously
Right.
with Guardians of the Galaxy, when it's pop culture, you know it's Guardians of the Galaxy. It's just kind of sad that no one else has a theme song you can recognize like Iron Man or Captain America or anybody else. Music has been a hot point of contention for a lot of people. In general, they lack recognizable theme songs.
Right.
It's generally just kind of generic score. There's actually brilliant videos that you can find on YouTube that discuss it in depth, but the Avengers theme song is one that is very recognizable, so I give it that. So we've covered the gamut of stuff without talking about much. So I feel like we did.
Our feelings.
But I mean, obviously we liked it. Okay, fine. Okay,
I
fine.
liked it. I definitely liked it.
That I liked it.
It was a good film.
Go see it. Go see it. Go see it.
This was a movie that was entertaining.
Yeah, it really was though. I felt thoroughly entertained. I felt thoroughly moved. I didn't feel like it was a super long movie. I was just like, "Ooh, this is
I
fun."
didn't. Before I even got to the theater, I didn't sleep well last night. I was so anxious. I was like, oh my goodness, I don't know what to do. Like, I'm so excited, but I'm so nervous because it's something that we've been waiting for so long. Definitely worth the wait.
I can say that I definitely liked it a lot. I can't say exactly what my score is. I don't know exactly what it is yet because I feel like I need to watch it again.
Yeah.
Because it's like we just saw it. And I don't want to like spit out a score and then like things come to mind later on, refrigerator logic, or I'm like, oh yeah, I didn't like that so much. And then if I feel differently, or maybe I liked it more.
Refrigerator logic?
You never heard that before?
I have not.
Okay, for those of you guys who don't know, refrigerator logic is where like you watch a movie and you love it, you come home, you go open the fridge to make a sandwich and you're like, wait a second, that sucked. That's refrigerator logic. So far, I'm just gonna keep it as, ambiguous because I liked it and that's all I'm gonna say. I'm gonna watch it again this Thursday.
For how much was covered in this film and for how much each character was able to like display their specialty and everything, you would think it would feel a lot more dragging and longer than what the film felt like.
Yeah.
And I think it was amazing. I didn't feel that it was lagging in any way, and I was thoroughly engaged the entire film.
You guys, thanks so much for hanging out with us. Thanks for listening to this whole conversation. Make sure you guys follow all these folks on the social media. You can find it over there somewhere, I believe. Hopefully I'm pointing in the right direction.
Just remember you pointed that way if you're not.
Otherwise I'm pointing at a wall. Thanks so much. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below about our thoughts. I don't know. There's nothing you can really say if you haven't seen it yet because this is a spoiler-free review. So, but anyway, thanks for hanging out. I love y'all. I'm Jaby Koay. This is
Jaby Garcia.
Courtney Wright.
ACHARA KIRK.
Peace out.